You'll need to have some lubricant. I've got some winch grease. This is actually Harken grease. There we go. Lewmar grease is virtually the same. Outstanding anti-wear formula designed for optimum winch performance, it says. So what could possibly go wrong? For the pawls, the little clicky things that stop it going backwards when you're winding it forwards, it's just engine oil, just ordinary Shell Rimula this happens to be, but it was just kicking around in the engine compartment. So you just need that and a screwdriver to drop it on.
I usually use a plastic refuse sack to surround the area around the winch. So if any oil or dirt comes out as you dismantle the winch, it doesn't end up on and staining your deck.
You can take the winch to bits without any tools. It's designed to come apart just by hand. So you unscrew this bit first, top cap, and pop that in the tray, and then we can take the rope diverter off. And there are a couple of clips here which hold the barrel onto the central spigot. So you can wiggle those out, and then the whole lot will rotate off and come off. So there it is. A little bit more complicated than the 16, but virtually the same. This looks pretty dry actually. Now we can take the roller bearings off and the little spacer between the two, and the bottom washer, plastic washer, comes off. And now that exposes the pin that holds this cog set, and another pin round the other side which exposes the other one. Now we'll take this pin out, just get it started with the screwdriver, drop that in the dish, and now this gear assembly will just slide out. We can put that in there and dismantle that in a minute. The one on the other side comes out much the same. And that's got a ratchet inside, as you can hear. We'll have to dismantle that and check that in a minute. We can now remove the central shaft with its cog on the end, and that's all of it dismantled. We now need to clean all this lot up and gradually dismantle all the other bits and clean them up too. Here's the cog assembly, and if I carefully pull it, you'll see that there's the pawls, and they engage in these indentations on the other side. So and then we can just pop it back together like so. So we'll clean this one out first and lubricate it. I'm using white spirit as I did on the previous winch, and I'm just going to pour a bit. These painter's buckets are really useful. They're not too big, and they're deep enough so that when you're flicking white spirit around with a brush, it doesn't go everywhere. So we can split this now and drop them in the white spirit, and we'll get set to with the brush.
It's pretty important to remove the remains of the old lubricant, which over time becomes contaminated and possibly abrasive. It's a tedious job and takes quite a lot of time. I'm just showing you bits of the process, but you really do need to be thorough. The brush helps you a lot to get into all the crevices and the cog teeth. After washing with the white spirit, it's important to dry the parts. I used paper towel to begin with and then left them in the sun for a while, so any residual white spirit evaporated. Well, that's the cleaning done. Now we move on to the lubrication stage. I'm using ordinary motor oil to lubricate the pawls in the ratchets on this assembly and the other larger version. I find the end of a screwdriver works quite well. You don't need much, and then I exercise the pawl so that the oil is transferred to the inside. Next, it's the turn of the cogs and the bearing surfaces. I just squeeze a small bead of grease out of the tube and use fingers to spread it thinly over all the surfaces. Again, it's one of those tedious, messy jobs that takes for ages. This sequence has been substantially shortened. Don't want you dropping off to sleep. I hope you're finding this video useful. I'd be really grateful if you hit the subscribe button. There's one on screen, bottom right. A like would be lovely too, and I'm always pleased to get comments. At last, it's time to start the reassembling. That's it, Dave. Make sure the cog assembly is the right way around. And now the bigger assembly is slid in and pinned in place. Then a quick dab of grease on the central shaft and it is slid into place. Now just a quick check with the winch handle to make sure everything runs smoothly. Just pop on the plastic washer, the lower roller bearing, and then the spacer, and finally the top roller bearing. Before I fitted the barrel, I just thought I'd remove the self-tailing assembly to check that all was well. It's a good job I did. Someone in the past had applied grease to the springs and it has gone hard and the spring movement is quite restricted. I cleaned out the grease and then degreased the springs and fitted them back in again with a tiny drop of oil. They all move much better now. Now to fit the barrel. And then the little locking inserts that keep everything in place. The rope divider, which makes sure that's in the right place. And finally the screw-on cap. Quick check with the winch handle and we're done.